Hey there, football fans. Here we are, episode number 12 of Nick's Who Gives a Crap football update. As you can see, I'm not by the Buffalo again today. I'm actually back in Oklahoma, getting ready to go to Bedlam. We're right here just a few hours before the Bedlam game. Didn't get a chance to jump on here Thanksgiving. Didn't get a chance to jump on here yesterday because we were traveling most of the day. So I wanted to get on today and do my video for this week. Didn't want to disappoint during Bedlam week. So let's start off first talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way first. Miserable is what I've got to say about right now in this season. I've said it in past videos. It's time for Jason Garrett to go. I knew they weren't going to fire him mid-season because theoretically there's still a chance they could make the playoffs. Theoretically, they could still beat the Eagles out, win the NFC East, and get into the playoffs so they could make their annual first round exodus from the playoffs. So that means Jason Garrett's time is up. The guy's ridiculous on his decision-making. When they're running the ball, when they're passing the ball, when they're kicking, when they're going for it, it's a disaster right now in Dallas. There's so much for me to talk about there. The whole staff needs to be cleaned out, and we need to start fresh. I'm still rooting for Sean Payton to be the replacement. I still don't think Lincoln Riley was going to get that job. I know that's a big name that's out there. I could possibly see an Urban Meyer getting the job, however. But I am seeing some scenarios where maybe Lincoln Riley makes sense. I'm thinking if Jerry's getting ready to pay Dak $35 to $40 million, which the guy's getting ready to get in a contract, he may decide that, hey, I want a coach that can come in here and develop the quarterback that I'm investing in. And if you're going to look for a coach to develop a quarterback right now in the nation, I'm not sure there's a better one to look at than Lincoln Riley. So that may be the way they go there. But let's go ahead and jump now to what everybody wants to hear, and that's Bedlam. I told everybody, I teased a few weeks ago that I had something special in for Bedlam. And I wanted to start off with this. You guys know all along I've been talking about how OU is going to win this game. I still fully believe that. I believe officially OU will win this game by at least 2 touchdowns. I could see it actually being more than that, but at least 2 touchdowns, I see them winning this game. I still feel like they're going to get into the playoffs. I've been talking about it for weeks. I still feel like they're going to get into the college football playoff where they'll lose in that first game in the playoff. However, let's go ahead and talk about Bedlam. I'm going to go ahead and say something here because this is what I had in mind. I'm not much of a trash talker. I never really have been much of a trash talker. I do a little bit to some extent when you get into the NFL because I don't like the Redskins, the Eagles, the 49ers, or the Steelers. So I'll do a little trash talking there. But I've never really been a big trash talker in general. It's just not the way I go. So I didn't want to come on here and do a bunch of trash talking BS on my channel. It's not what I'm about. But I will do what I am about. And this is going to be a little bit of a Bedlam breakdown rant for you. And I'm going to go back in time. So I'm going to explain to you the fandom that I have for Oklahoma State and how it became. My parents, if you don't know, both went to Oklahoma State University. Both my mother and my father. That's where they met, was at Oklahoma State University. So growing up, that was the team that both my parents rooted for. My extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins, a large majority of those are Sooner fans. So aunts and uncles that are very close to me, that are almost like my second parents, are Sooner fans. I've got cousins that are like brothers and sisters to me that are Sooner fans. But I grew up as an Oklahoma State fan. That being said, as a small child, I wasn't big into sports. Didn't watch much sports, didn't follow much sports. And when I was in elementary school, very young, in kindergarten, I believe it was, kindergarten or first grade around that time frame, I know it was around 1985. And in the state of Oklahoma in 1985, something happened that would have been pretty significant in the world of the Sooners, right? They won a national championship. So you have a young kindergartner, first grader riding the bus, never watched a down of football, didn't really know anything about football. And I had some of the kids on the bus that asked me who I'm a fan of, Oklahoma or Oklahoma State. Not knowing anything about football, but knowing that my parents both talked about Oklahoma State and that's where they went, I said Oklahoma State. I proceeded for weeks and weeks to get beaten up on the bus because I said I was an Oklahoma State fan. The kids would twist my nose. I'd come in off the bus, my nose would be red. My mom would be asking me what was going on. I tried to shake it off, but it was the kids on the bus beating me up because I said I was an Oklahoma State fan. Innocent, didn't know anything about it, and got beat up. I'm not trying to give you a sob story. I'm just telling you how it all kind of came about. Fast forward, years would go by. I would continue to get comments from people about being an Oklahoma State fan, making fun of me, making fun of the Oklahoma State Cowboys, making fun of whatever. And then I got into high school. Actually, I was in junior high. Got braces put on. Very, very painful at that time. And my mother wanted to make sure that I could get my mind off of the braces. Because of how much pain I was having. It was a spacer on the top of my mouth. So she decided to take me. My mother was a single mother that raised me most of my life. And she decided to plan a weekend for us to go to Stillwater to watch Oklahoma State play. Stay up in Stillwater, stay in the student union, and have a weekend. She wanted me to kind of get my mind off of the pain of the dental work that I had done. So we went up there and I watched an Oklahoma State team. At that time that had just gone on to probation. So they weren't very good. Stadium was empty. I could lay down on the benches. That's how empty the stadium was. I mean, this was the old stadium at Lewis Field. Not very many people there. And that was the first Oklahoma State game that I attended. We did the same thing the following year. My mother and I did. We went to a game, stayed the weekend. And that's where I started to learn that I loved Oklahoma State personally. Became memories for me. At that time, it was the whole spectacle that I liked. Even then, the school was not even popular. The stadium was empty. Then I got into football my freshman year. It was the first year that I played football. Then I started to understand the sport a little bit more and became more of a fan. I had my mother's cousin, her and her husband had season tickets. They decided to purchase season tickets. And so I would go to a lot of the games during that first year he's really an uncle to me. His name's Kenny. He's really an uncle to me, and we went to games together. We would drive to Tulsa and watch him play Tulsa. And I watched Oklahoma State at that time too. I watched the 1-9 year and watched most of those games in the stadium that was empty. I sat out there in snow, watched us play Colorado and get just pummeled. Sat in the end zone. My favorite player was Jason Gilden. I liked Keith Burns. It was a fun time for a young man learning about football. But I continued to hear razzing from Sooner fans. So, kind of fast forward from there. My mother and I ended up getting season tickets. We got season tickets in, I believe it was 1995. And she decided just to get season tickets because I was going to most of the games anyway with Kenny, my uncle, and we got tickets. So my mother and I, it became a tradition for us. In 1995, we started going to all the Oklahoma State games. Went to them all and have gone to every single Oklahoma State football game since 1995, except one. I've only missed one Oklahoma State home football game in that time span, which would now be 24 years. And it was one Bedlam game a couple of years ago once we moved out to Lubbock, where the weather was too bad and I couldn't get out there. So that's what happened there. So I've been to every single Oklahoma State game. I've sat there in all the temperatures, all the rain, the wind, the heat, good teams, bad teams, what you want to say. I've seen it. Sat at many games in Bedlam and watched OU fans come in and just really be disrespectful. And I know Oklahoma State fans do the same thing in that Bedlam game. I get it. But I see no other fan base come into Stillwater and act as disrespectful as I've seen the Sooner fans over my 24 plus years watching this team in person. So in 1999, the lovely Patty came into my life. I told my mother after we'd only been dating for about 3 months, I said, hey, I would like to buy my girlfriend at the time an extra season ticket. I think this is going well. I think we're going to have a future together, and I'd like to have an extra season ticket for her. My wife, she came from an OU family. She did not watch much football prior to our relationship. She watched the Super Bowl and she'd watch some games here and there, but she wasn't really big into football. So I told her, I said, hey, we're Oklahoma State fans. We have season tickets. I'd like for you to go with us. And she was excited to do so, but not knowing much about the world of OU, OSU, or any of that kind of thing, other than her family primarily is Sooner fans. So soon after she became an Oklahoma State fan and going to the games, she started getting razzed by people unprovoked. If you know her now, you know she doesn't mind provoking. But at the original period of time, she didn't. And she took on a bunch of just hateful comments and rude comments and jokes from people, unwarranted, directed to her. So she started to see this. And that's when she became a diehard Oklahoma State fan. And to this day, she lives and breathes Oklahoma State sports and football primarily. So we've just had this history with this program. And time again, I've had to take unwarranted attacks from Sooner fans. And I get it. I get the rivalry that's there. But I also explain to people over and over again that these two programs are not the same, and you cannot compare these two programs. So to be an Oklahoma State fan, if you're a Sooner fan, you do not know what it's like to be an Oklahoma State fan. I promise you, you don't understand the emotions that go into being an Oklahoma State fan. Just like I'm not going to pretend to know the emotions that go into being a Sooner fan. And I know you Sooner fans have tons of memories, and good, valid memories of your parents and grandparents taking you to games in Norman and watching national championship teams. And I get it. I get the storied tradition of the Sooner program. I never disrespect the tradition of the Sooner program. I don't like how Oklahoma State fans take repeat beatings from, and that's why we mouth off. You get a lot of Oklahoma State fans that mouth off when we do manage to win some of these Bedlam games. It's because we have to put up with so much in between then. And you're going to debate all this you want. This is just the reality of what most of us Oklahoma State fans experience. Being called little brother, yada, yada, yada. You all just enjoy the success that you have, okay? You guys have that success. I understand when you're attacked as a fan base because of jealousy. I understand that. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, and you're going to laugh at the fact that I would even suggest that somebody be jealous of a Dallas Cowboy fan. But the story of the program of the Dallas Cowboys is storied. It's a long history. It's a rich history of Hall of Famers and championships, much like the Sooners. So I understand as a Dallas Cowboy fan, because I get razzing as a Dallas Cowboy fan as well. So I understand that Sooner fans are attacked as well. And I get that. But as an Oklahoma State fan, I enjoy the seasons year in and year out. And we are rarely, if ever, contending for championships as Cowboys. That's not what we're about. It's about experience. It's about a family. It's about a deep-rooted family that's been through a lot. So that's what I want to leave you with today. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about the fan base and how we got there. So today, loyal and true, ready to go, rooting for Oklahoma State to pull out this upset, prove me wrong, and we'll be cheering loud and proud. Love to do nothing but ruin the chances of the Sooners. That's what we do enjoy doing very much so. So if you haven't already, I'd like you to click like and subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up if you like what I hear. Give me a thumbs down if you think I'm full of crap. Last thing I want you to know, I hope that you have a blessed football weekend. Take care.